So one of you asked the question, is Norm happy? But
Never asked that question.
well,
Within his own mind.
But the other, yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask. Does Norm think he's happy?
Definitely not. From the first chapter, definitely not.
Again, the one chapter expert.
No, he's
First
searching,
impressions, what do they
for
say?
happiness. He is in
Excuse
that
me? Fuck.
endless search for happiness.
Does he think he's happy?
What will make him happy? What will make him happy?
No, I think that he thinks
a
he
female
thinks
doctor's
when
not
I
good
get to
enough,
here
I
I'm
need a
happy.
male
When I get
doctor.
to here I'm happy. But that's the endless pursuit for
search.
material happiness. And you will never get it, because I'll tell you right now, I'm a hell of a lot better off than I was 15 years ago. But do I want a better house? Yep. Have I got an awesome house
that-
now? Yeah.
Is that happiness?
5
or
years
is
ago,
that
I thought it was great.
Is that
Now-
happiness or greediness?
It's, well, that's where people base happiness on material things
Yes,
and
that's
things
right.
that they can show it out.
Possessions.
Yes.
And you know, I've worked and lived in third world countries, and
Why?
I've met the poorest of the poorest people that are the happiest people I've ever met in my life. You know
That's right,
why?
yeah.
Because they don't give a shit about
That's
material
right, yeah.
crap. They don't give a
Hello.
shit. And it's not even a...
You too?
And for Norm, it's not even about owning it's making sure that other people know that he owns those material things.
So if you were trying to hide the characters' names from real people,
Yeah.
you've just given it away.
But the thank you. Jad, you know it's about me. Anyway,
Everything's about you.
Well, yes, I've known him for a while.
Your
Here's
name's
the
even
part of
first
my
on the
whole
book
life.
poll.
Yeah.
the place
Wasn't that an arm wrestle?
the place of where true contentment or happiness is not external to you. So it's not actually able to be achieved by things, but by what you are inside of yourself. So the self-contentment that we can exist in is the question that we say to ourselves: Am I able to feel happy and accept that happiness is responsibility? Now, it's impossible for us to, I think, as people, to say I'm going to be happy all the time, because what is that? What a ludicrous idea! I'm going to be happy all
think
the time.
that's fake.
But
Well, it doesn't
to
work anyway.
To understand, to understand that you have sadness means that you know that you can understand happiness.
Absolutely.
So sometimes it has to rain, sometimes the sun comes. But how you interpret it at every moment, as the moment arises within you, you have some choices around that. So you can cause the drama of something bad happening or something sad happening and make it affect your whole life and go, oh, how terrible, now look what happened. Or you can look at it and go, oh, what have I learnt from that? The most interesting thing about life I've found in my own journey is that sometimes the adversity that I face actually builds the person I am. And it's not the place of where it's easy that I learn. The place of where I learn is where it's difficult and hard.
Yeah.
So in the hardships that we face, is the chasing of material possession trying not to face oneself?
I think 100%.
Yeah, because what you're trying is escaping from yourself.
Yeah.
So that's the tendency of the addiction of life. So if you get addicted to alcohol, like we
all are.
We may or may not.
So you're talking about that.
Are we
This is the
running?
first drink I've had in 5 years.
Are we running away?
scary.
And what are we running away
Gee, I
from?
hope the golf club captain doesn't see
I am a
this.
super.
So the book is a little example snapshot of what it's like to try and be a character within the play of life as we're trying to survive. Because we come to work, get dressed up, and we go, okay, I have to perform as a person who's going to do something to survive.
Conformity is everything.
And to try and work out what that is as we look at each other in a space. So we all come together, go to work, and like you're working as a CEO now, trying to motivate and keep things going. So you're the guy who's driving the car, and building a team around you, and having the responsibility to be able to consider yourself as the leader is a really big responsibility. I never saw myself as the CEO, but there are people that I had employed who saw themselves as the CEO that weren't, and I could say, what the hell? Why would you even want to be? You know, and I look at people who are not suited, who think they can be, and I'm looking at people also who could be but don't find themselves in that position.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, where do we find ourselves and what are we good at? And who are we in the space? So I have this theory that putting your best foot forward at the time is okay, but being aware that parts of what we are pretending.
Oh, yeah.
So where we are pretending and what are we pretending, can we see what we pretend and how we pretend, and can we choose to pretend to be in a place where we're helpful to others and helpful to ourselves, and where do we pretend to be what is not helpful and what is unhelpful? So it's a very interesting idea, because we have to realise that a lot of our life is acting out a role. And it's not easy, but we are. But accepting who we are in the role. Because I can't play the drums like this guy. This guy can just drum. Now, he asked himself, how come I was born with the ability to be a champion drummer?
Tried
I said,
every other instrument, couldn't do it.
it must come from an innate ability.
Has to be.
So it's something born.
Unless I was half African and Mum was like
No.
Got the rhythm.
So an example of how you're born. Here, Alan here. Sorry, Macca here.
You just gave it away, mate.
Become the fireman.
It wasn't me.
He became the fireman, but when he was in his early 20s, he went through a process of going to the fire brigade and saying, can I qualify? And he goes through the 1,000 people that entered, and then there was a group of how many at the end, 50 or whatever?
Oh yeah, about 100. I think they put through the physical.
And they all failed
interviews.
apart from you.
No.
I
No?
think
Okay.
there's about 1,500 sat a written test.
Yep.
So you have to hit the
That
written
was the
test.
last-
And they dwindle.
And out of the
the written test is the first.
out of the 1,500, where did you come?
In the top 20.
In the top 20. So physically, at a time in his life, he was at a point where he found himself being able to perform the duty of saving lives. And you were 22 or 23?
23.
I got a
23.
star sticker once too.
Yeah, I got a gold star. I've got plenty of gold stars in my locker at home.
You understand it's not a competition.
No, not a competition. But
But it
have,
is.
have you ever received a star?
We don't have time to talk about mine.
I suspect Joe got a lot of gold
Yeah,
stars.
we don't have time. We'll book another time. We'll call it
The
the
old
gold
gold star
over the
edition.
world.
and I'll bring him. I got him still.
That'll be shit.
The
It's
thing
going
is,
to
he's
take
wearing it
all
on his shirt
Friday.
right now.
Yeah, your mum framed him.
I framed them. Made mum. Let's stick out of humility.
You sure you didn't like this stupid name?
Let's stick.
We,
Joe, you're amazing.
We
Thank you.
go back a sec to the CEO roles.
Yeah.
And you
Never had one.
mentioned the fire service. So people coming in, and I'm 20 years, but people coming in, first yearers, and they want to be the CEO. They want to be the chief. No, you
First
have to.
year?
First yearers, I'm going to be the chief.
That
Well,
would be me.
do the hard yards first. One, learn the hard yards if you want to be the chief. Then be able to perform the hard yards.
I mean,
If you can't perform the hard yards, and there's people that aren't fit for the roles.
Yeah, they think they
Yeah.
are.
But, someone
Depends on why they do it.
someone selected them to be there
Yeah.
and gave them the idea in their heads that they were fit to do it.
Or
Or
was
were
it just
able to do
a
it.
random moment in time
Is it? Well,
that made him think like that?
no. Yes and no. But
Because I became a deputy fire warden. All I had to do is go,
Put your red hat on
put
and
my hat on and get a
point to
fire
the lift.
extinguisher and point it at the fire and put it out. I didn't know what fire extinguisher put out what fire, because they're all different if you're electrical or fucking, Fuck knows. I'm a deputy fire warden.
there we go.
And cheers,
That
guys.
happened.
Well, I think that look, there's a place for both types of
I'm actually
kind of
empty. That's just
CEOs, and I say that it could be general manager, or whatever. There are people and businesses that need good management for a period of time, and then when that's sort of set up and it's running, then they need good leadership.
That's
and there's
right.
a big difference between a good manager and a good leader, and quite often they can't do both.
Big difference.
Yes.
Quite often a really good manager's never going to be a good leader, but they can create procedures and policies and streamlines and finance
Yes,
things.
yes.
And then there's a leader who gets in the trenches with them and stands out in front but walks the walk.
That's right.
And you've got to know, in your own business.
And that's where there's the office skills person, there's the manual labour skills person, and the drummer, the writer, the CEO.
well, we did have a.
Everyone's got their talent.
If you had,
Yeah.
if you look at the book, we do have a lovely young lady that you'll find
back to the
out,
book.
Rebecca, who
not Sally.
who has a job
pass
as
the
a receptionist. And she, have you read that
written
part?
off after that.
And she Norm goes undercover to go and find out about this company, and she meets Norm, because Norm's undercover. And she goes, "Oh, hello, Norm." She goes, "Hello," and he says who he's not. And it's very interesting. But he starts to communicate with her about how well she is at being a receptionist, because she's the perfect receptionist, right? She's got the smile, she's got the glittering eyes.
Different to Rita.
She's a gorgeous person. And he can't work out why she's not in sales. And she says, "I tried sales, but I didn't like it. So I actually like reception. So I'm the happiest person I am where I am.
Yeah.
Please leave me alone."
Yeah.
And it's interesting that sometimes you might ask a person to be someone they're not.
Yeah.
And thinking, why aren't you more than what you are? And in actual fact, what they are and where they are and where they find themselves is right where they would like it.
Where they want to be.
And where they want to be.
They're happy.
And that's so interesting.
That's a really good point that you bring up. The company that I'm working for now, I've been there just shy of a year, and very successful company, trade services, done
And
really well.
Nothing to do with Paul.
No, I used to work for Paul previously, and then
And successful.
sorry.
That's the part I'm getting at.
Anyway, so when I got there, it was running, making good money, running really well, but dysfunctionally, but still dragging itself along.
Yeah.
And then got to have a look at it, and you could see that as the business had grown from a very small business to where it is now, they were trying to put square pegs in round holes. Good people. But they were like, why isn't this person really good at this, right? Because we've promoted them to this, and now the business has grown to this. We need a manager of this department, and they were putting the people that had started out as they were growing into, and they were square pegs, and they were trying to put them into a round hole.
Yeah.
And so when I got there and was able to look at it, I guess a little bit more circumspectly, because I wasn't emotionally attached to anything, I could see that this person's brilliant, but pull them out of there and put them there.
Here.
And it's made a massive difference. And people, if they're brilliant and they're a really hard worker, when they realise that they're a square peg trying to be in a round hole, it creates disharmony for them, and they start to not enjoy being at work, and it can turn into a very toxic environment.
Yes.
So if you can communicate with your people and find out what they really want, and put
That's
them
right.
put them in the right space.
Big part of this book, isn't it? About finding the right position, and for that person to accept that position and be happy in it.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Good
you're
people
the only
in the
one
wrong
who know,
spot.
because you finished the book, as
He did.
no one else did.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Champion that he is.
I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated about the
Glutton
idea
for
that
punishment.
we only have the people in our community that are there,
Yeah.
and we attract to ourselves what it is that is the intention of what we're doing. So here we are as a group, attracted to ourselves at this moment. Not important. We're in Adelaide, and we're a very small little one. We're in a studio. We're having a little chat. But what made us come together is some idea. Now we're family. He's a golfer up the road at my golf club, and we have a laugh together. We work together. I met this guy because I asked him to edit my book, and suddenly it's turned into this. So that place of meeting people is how much are we willing to share, give of ourselves, and accept each other. Because if we didn't have the ability to accept each other, so at work you go, people are going to sit there and going, oh, this person gives me the shits, this person's a pain in the ass, this person wants this person wants. And I look at this in government departments, where the government department is people who are hanging in on their jobs, not necessarily happy with their jobs, but they're hanging in there for the longevity of it just to survive.
Yeah.
Doesn't quite exist in the same way in private enterprise as much as it does in the government job. But a lot of people are not happy at work, but don't have the insight or ability or gumption.
Or they're
to
out 4
move.
or 5 years and they want to make pro rata.
All of that. So all of the things that make them sick.
Never pays
So
out.
part of the writing of the book is, this experience of running two companies with different cultures, both successful, but they have an agenda that's a little bit, okay, and we can laugh at it. But at the end of the day, if you're miserable going to work, why? And if you were able to go to work and have an enjoyable day of it, we're not here forever. And how much time are you spending at work? Well, really, we don't spend a lot of hours at work. If you worked out in your whole life, we're working from the ages of 17, 18 till 65, most of us.
Sorry,
except
11.
people like you.
11.
And
eight,
out of
I think
that, most of you, out of those years, which is most of that time, you're you're spending probably 5 or 6 years in the bathroom and on the toilet because that's what you have to do, and you have to have a shower and get yourself organised. And then you're spending about 4 or 5 hours a day watching television, and so you're doing a bit of that. You might do a bit of reading, but spending time eating, so you've got to prepare meals and eat. So and a third, you've got to do a bit of that. And a third of your life you're sleeping. So people say, "I'm working all my life." No, you're not. You've got family, you've got recreation,
100%.
you've got hygiene, you've got food, you've got sleep. Now, for the time that you're at work, why would you spend your time at work, which is where you're looking at your survival self, unhappy? Well, you haven't got enough time to be unhappy. Contribute to where you are.
Yeah.
Look after where you are. Enjoy it. Going there thinking you're more important than others and having that attitude of, I'm going to tell people what to do. If you're a good CEO, you're a CEO that works with the people that you have and that you get the best out of them.
Well, when I first walked in there and, spent a couple of weeks understanding the business, and then I called a meeting with every single staff member that we have in the field that were direct employees.
How many?
And there was only 15.
Okay.
So of admin staff, because our business is built around a lot of subcontracting.
Yep.
And the first question I asked of them is, if you could have any job in this building, what would it be? And 75% of them told me a different one than the one that I
yeah. Not happy where they are.
right?
Yep.
And I'm like, okay. Well,
Holy shit.
Why? Yeah.
It's only Thursday.
That's a fair word.
Why do you want to?
fair
Why
enough.
do you want to be in that role? Was the next question. 25% was like, it's more money. Right.
Yeah.
Always
Okay,
the
and that's
first.
fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's always the first thing.
But 75% of it wasn't. 75% of it was them telling me I think that I have the skills and it suits my personality and I'm really good at the and completely.
Yeah, on the.
I
You realise that a lot of
completely
people don't
remanaged-
care about what position they're in
Yeah.
They're in
or
the
what
wrong
money
office.
they're getting,
Yeah.
but they want to be able to
Yeah.
do it
And
better.
if they know that that's a strong skill set in them,
Yeah.
they're going to be better,
That's right.
right? Because a lot
the
of our skills
person
are
that thinks
personality.
they're up to that.
How do you abolish
person
that emotional attachment with anyone, with people you work with people you don't work with? How do you abolish that emotional?
How do I abolish my emotional
Yeah,
connection to
I guess that's
the
what I'm asking,
the
yeah.
people I work with?
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay.
You can.
I don't, and
That's part of
I
it.
don't ever want to.
Yep.
What I have learnt is that if somebody's not doing so well in a job,
kick 'em out.
right? That there's probably three major things. Is one, they're never going to be suited to that job, but most of the time it's you haven't trained them properly,
Okay.
right? The second is you're not communicating with them properly, and that comes from the top down, right?
Yep.
Most people are competent if they're trained properly and if you communicate properly with them,
You ever
right?
seen him swing a
Some-
golf club?
No,
I've tried
again-
to show him.
Again,
I ran away the first time I
Again.
saw her. I was about.
it's just,
Was it
just
13 years old?
hasn't been
Sorry,
trained
friend.
properly.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
rest my case. You're communicating with him. That's good. That is crap. But then there is that portion where this person is never. It's not their personality type
right.
to ever be good
Yep.
at this type of role, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, even with the current board that I'm working with now and the managing director, he really doesn't he's a real big, tough, tradie guy that's absolutely got a heart of gold and cares about everybody. And I'm like, you've got 3 people working here that should not be working here. There's no chance in hell I would give them a job. They're not suited for this role. I like them. They're good people.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I said, you've tried every hole. They're 2 square
Yeah.
and the holes are 2 round. We don't have any other holes.
Don't have any triangles.
Right?
No
I
triangles.
said, we need to let them go. And he's like, I'm not good at letting people go. And I said, do you think that particular person's happy right now? And he goes, I know they're not because we're riding them. They probably feel sick every Monday when they're coming to work, right? I said, let me tell you something. In a previous role, I had to fire, coincidentally, 52 people in 1 year,
It would be
which is a
hard.
lot of, and they were friends. A lot of them were friends.
One for
Yep.
every week.
But it was that it
Basically,
did
yeah.
average out at that, unfortunately. But what I learnt from that is the ones that were really not good at their job, I knew that they weren't happy, and some of them were my friends. But I set them free, and they found a job really quickly. I gave them great references. They found a job really quickly, and they skyrocketed. And that's what I was trying to explain to our board and the managing director here is that don't feel bad, because trust me, they feel sick coming to work every day because they know they're not cutting the mustard. We've tried everything. Like I feel
bad for mental health.
Good. It's terrible
If
for
you're
mental
not
health.
fingers
if
do
you're
they
not in a
lose?
position,
Right,
you know
yeah.
you're not in a position.
It is. It's awful. But I help them get, a transition out. So
Something,
we
yeah.
took care of them.
Yeah.
And they've got new jobs now, those two particular
excellent.
people.
Geez,
and
you're a
they
good boss. I
are
wish I
killing
had
it.
you.
They are absolutely killing it now. Like, they're so much happier. They're skyrocketing because they're not trying to be something that they're not suited to be.
Yeah.
And I think that's the balance. So my point is, I'm always emotionally invested with my people. I'm a big sook. I hear a sob story from a staff member, and I'll shut my door and have a tear so that people can't see it.
Yeah.
But know that sometimes when you have to have those hard conversations, that it's either they're not suited, and if they're not suited, convince them to move on and help them do it, and they'll flourish.
Yeah.
2, you haven't trained them properly, and 3, you're not communicating. So 66% of the time, it's your fault.
Yeah.
And if you can learn to, because everybody hears differently.
You got to
right?
adapt. Right, that's what
And
it's all
everybody
about.
here, I can have a meeting and then tell everybody on staff the same message, and then individually have the same conversation with them, and they've all heard it a different way. You've got
That's
to
right,
learn
yeah.
to understand
Yeah.
how
And
they
that's the
hear.
annoyance of it all. That
Yeah.
you got to, you're different, but I've said the same message to every motherfucker in here.
Yeah,
This
and we've
is
all heard
the-
it differently.
Sorry, yeah. There's the same message that I'm bringing out to everyone, so everyone should understand that, and they don't understand it. So you got to adapt yourself to that.
100%. Yeah.
What I really need to say is that I really need to do a wee. Where can I go do a wee?
Can I
I'm not going to do it in my
Don't
pants.
forget your
de-mic
mic up.
yourself?
Yeah.
That's fine.
No, but
also-
don't rip it
Oh,
out.
yeah, okay.
There's a bush just over there. in the
There is a
corner.
bush over there.
Yeah.
Bloody beautiful. I thought I just had to turn around.
There's a bush in that corner next to that light.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
If I get it wrong, you can't abolish me.
Yeah, and the camera will be watching.
Admonish.
Didn't your mum ever tell you to go to the toilet before you go
You
out?
warn me about that.
Ah, sorry.
I need
Or
to
did she go, go to the toilet before you go out?
I'm
And you
diabetic.
never
I'm
listen
like,
to her.
I'm diabetic. I'm like, I'm going pretty good right now. I haven't.
Please.
I'm right and follow it around, and you'll find it.
Beautiful.
You will find.
Or the...
Is he still on mic?
No, he's
There you go.
I can read a.
faint background noise.
I can read a little part of the book about How did the meeting go, Lance? It was good of you to arrange that. I'm sorry I couldn't make it. Lance scowls. No show. Really? That's a shame. Yeah. Lance twists his face as if tasting something sour. I'm not sure what I think of him now. I'm starting to think Alberto and his wife are not as perfect as they make themselves out to be.
Alberto, that's who I was trying
Now
to
that I
remember.
think about it, their social media feels a little over the top. Don't worry, it's difficult to work some people out. Some people put a lot of effort into appearing humble. Lance shakes his head and buries it in his palms. I think I need to be alone. Without another word, he walks off. Was that a tear in his eye? Boy, is that going to be hard to leave these guys behind? Yet something uneasy lingers. Something's not right, and I can't put my finger on it. You're doing it again, the voice is back calling her out. What am I doing? I think you know. She thinks for a moment. Sit with it patiently, she reminds herself. Mai sits with it, and slowly the thoughts calm down enough to allow clarity to resurface. Am I looking for drama again, just to reassure myself I'm needed here? Is it just my insecurity? She doesn't like admitting to insecurity, but Mai reminds herself that change and uncertainty bring this out in the best of people. What does Trevor always say? Great strength can be found in vulnerability. There it is. You're still human. Mai, it's okay if you're still figuring things out. Isn't everyone? Funny enough, it's this thought that Mai finds most reassuring. Yes, says the voice. It's okay to let go of the guilt.
Is that the special sauce reading?
So Mai is a CEO and she needs to move on, or she wants to move on to show some time with her family, which often CEOs might want to do because they get themselves caught up in a job. And there's some guilt underlying her place of where she is and what she's doing and whether she should or
What's your
shouldn't
mic?
move on. So
Hey.
that there's guilt in staying, and there's guilt in going, and wherever her choices and decisions, she's trying to go within her own mind and say to herself, what is the right move for me, and how do I keep the drama of whatever it is that I'm choosing out of it? So it's very interesting, all of that.
Yeah.
And we don't know the challenges that might come our way and what we are or are not going to think about it. Any comment, Joe?
Oh, well, I think it's a classic little dilemma, isn't it? Being caught. But I guess that bit I think maybe shows someone who's has a good ability to be honest with themselves. And a good ability to not overjudge. Because I think that's what creates the fence perimeter. It kind of fences you into a position. And it's like I guess it's like an openness that she shows with herself. So like to be able to be okay with not knowing. Because in a leadership position, I think you're very easily forgiven for thinking you should always have the answer. You should always know. And then she catches herself. She's able to do it on her own. And so often, I think you have people around you who can be capable of challenging the voices you have if you're honest, if you're open enough to share them with them. But there's a very different ability. Sometimes people have the ability to do it totally internally with themselves, to actually have that conversation with themselves and catch it, and then let go. It's not super common, but very, very hard. But I guess that was an attempt to try and capture that in a person. What that sort of, I'm sure those leaders are out there. Obviously, I obviously am one myself. Otherwise, how could
I hear you, buddy.
how could
Can I be one, please?
We'll get to that. We better stay on this
how
side.
could it have been? How could it have been captured?
So it's this
It either-
side of the
it either
table
had to come from
versus
him or
them.
me. And,
Right.
Buddy, I can get there.
In that same sort of
what I'm
thing.
trying to say is humility.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nuance.
And exactly what you're saying right
Yeah.
then. I've
Yeah.
just gone to the toilet.
And it's one thing to say it, but it's another thing to demonstrate it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true, yeah.
Yeah.
So I've just gone to the toilet and I've looked and it's got a little sign there saying that all genders welcome. And I personally only know of 2 genders.
You just got cancelled just like that.
No, you can bleep that out. He said it earlier.
It's just more work for Rory. And
Rory, you're doing a bloody good job, mate.
I think also the something both of you guys just touched on the
There's a
passage
link?
that you read.
I like this guy.
wait to
I pointed at Paul and you.
oh, okay. That makes more sense.
Was that a good leader, CEO, manager, anybody knows that they can't do everything, and that my philosophy is I'm very aware that I am not good at many things. What I am good at is finding the people that are really good at that. And,
Finding people to trust.
yeah. So find
the
somebody that.
position?
Yeah. So when I'm choosing somebody, you need to know where are we trying to go and what's the gaps we need to fill. Yeah. And then you recruit those people, and I recruit those people by can you do what we need to do to fill this gap that I can't do, right? Yes, you can. And the very last thing I do before I employ someone, you guys are going to probably think is ridiculous, is that I imagine our company and the people in it as a family photo on the wall. And if I can't see that person in my family photo, my gut's telling me culturally they're wrong. And then I'll find the other person, right? This is something my old CEO taught me, and it hasn't failed me. So you can teach skills, but you can't teach someone to fit into a culture. That's a personality trait.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, I just surround myself with people that can do what I can't, basically.
Or people
sounds
to
like-
fill in the positions you need filling in your life. Or
Yes,
you-
In all
absolutely.
aspects of your life. Yeah.
That's right.
Absolutely. So probably my only skill is to find the people that can do what I can't.
Yeah, where'd you learn that from, boy?
It's from you.
Hockey.
Same place I learnt it from myself.
Yeah.
The hard way.
Life. Just life.
I'm interested in because I read about that choice of decision making when we are confronted with choices, like if you were to employ someone or not. And often one of the first motivations of making a choice in whatever we do might come from our mind first. So you go, okay, what am I going to do, and what am I going to? Let's say I'm going to eat for lunch. What am I going to eat for lunch? Whatever, or just simple things. What am I going to do today? So the choice first might come to the head, which is a logical decision. Then you follow your heart, and you'll say, well, what will my heart say about it? How do I feel about it? Because parts of our body influence our thinking, and we can think from our heart. And when we feel pain, or we feel passion or lovesick, the lovesick comes from the tummy, and then we feel heartache, and heartache when someone dies comes from heart. But our mind,
it's all actually happening up here.
yeah, our
It's
mind
not in
is
here.
saying it.
Not at all,
Yeah,
but
it's up
yeah.
here.
We're feeling
We
it in
feel
our,
it there.
We feel it in our
Yeah.
heart. Now, why does our heart feel? Because oh, my heart feels, and get butterflies in the stomach. I mean, where the hell are the butterflies coming from? So, lots of electrical charges are occurring in our bodies all the time that are creating our emotional response.
Yeah.
So I've always attempted to look at my journey and be emotionally intelligent. So what does emotional intelligence mean? What does emotional intelligence mean for you?
Alan?
Alan, have another drink.
Well, he did have a whole bunch of keys for no
No,
reason, didn't he?
it's learning to understand who you are, what you are, what your beliefs. You live by your beliefs.
Your value systems?
It's something I learned from a football captain a long time ago. He's passed now, but I always respect him as a good man. And he said, just be yourself. People will like you if you be yourself. Don't try to be someone you're not. Just be yourself.
Oh, I like that.
And and I've held that with me since I was a kid. My dad wasn't around. I didn't have a CEO at home. He took off, So I had to learn the hard way, or learn through
life.
mucking up. You learn by your mistakes. I've made plenty of mistakes. But this guy said, just be you. People will like you for you. If you're genuine, you're honest, they'll like you.
That's the key. Genuine and honesty.
You don't have, I can't pretend. I'm not a CEO. I'm not a
And how does that relate to emotional intelligence?
emotion. Well, it's who you are. It's
So emotionally, who you are. So there's a connection between what you are and what you think emotionally. It's caught up in that idea.
Everyone's got their own morals. Everyone's got their own ethics, or everyone's
So being aware of yourself,
religions,
and you're saying
sexual beliefs, whatever.
Emotional intelligence is accepting
I
myself.
worry about what I do. I don't care if he's gay, she's gay, whatever. I don't care if colour of the skin, or religious beliefs. Everyone's equal. We're all equal.
All welcome.
You're not better than me because you're a CEO. You're just a human being. You're not better than me because you're a writer. You're not better than me because you're a
That defeats the
drummer.
whole purpose.
We're all equal.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, we've all got our own talents, and that's
On
get
my
out
toilet seat, and I'm not happy.
Get him out.
but
Something that Alan would say.
Can't say that.
emotional intelligence.
Well, I did.
Now,
What's his name?
Be yourself.
emotional intelligence for you, what does that mean?
Well, I agree with everything you said. I don't think I don't think you can have emotional intelligence without mostly understanding yourself. But I think it's. I had a pretty good mentor early on in my working life. Before you, Paul.
Oh.
Before you high-fived me.
I
That
don't believe it.
whenever I was faced with some adversity with either a staff member or a situation, he would always come to me and go, what else could it be? And I thought, wow, okay, that's interesting. And it allowed me to step outside of my own beliefs on the matter, my own headstrong opinion, and assuming that my opinion was right, and looking at it from other people's point of views, and looking at where they were in life, what's going on in their life, why they made that decision. Didn't mean I had to agree with it, but understanding a bit more circumspect that I'm not a black and white person anymore. I'm very much grey and slightly greyer. I don't think there's any such thing as black and white. So that emotional intelligence for me comes down to that one sentence. What else could it be? And that's being able to honestly looking at what it means for me, but what could it mean for that person, and how do we come around together to come to some synergy while still understanding that we're all not going to emotionally feel the same way about a situation, and then be able to read what it is for that person, be able to understand that, you know, that when my kid comes home and I'm being bullied at school, this kid does this and this and this, the first thing that goes through my head is, what's that kid going through that he's behaving like that or she's behaving like that at school? And that's what I try and impart to my children. I say, don't tolerate it, don't put up with it, escalate it to the teachers if need be. Don't retaliate, because you don't know what that person's going through, because what else could it be? Might not be about you at all.
But
And I think that...
Can I add, you say emotional intelligence is being able to listen to other people. Knowing yourself is one thing, but being able to listen to other people and what their requirements are is, like you say, you don't know what they need. If you don't
You don't know their story, do you?
If you don't, you can't judge
Brilliant.
someone if you don't know who they are.
Yeah.
But it's
Okay.
it's so common down the local courthouse
turn in a
that
minute.
someone sitting up on a panel will hear a story and go, "You're done,"
Yeah.
and there's no background of it at all. But that's our way of life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that's our court system, the judicial system. You know, you've got the right to a lawyer to get you off, but he doesn't know you either. And it's only your true friends that know you from, you know, and history that will write, you know, recommendations for you, really, because the judge down the road ain't if he hears that. Or a bit of tribe about you, you know. But it's being able to listen to what the people need, what they want.
And I think also recognising when you're making decisions based on your emotions rather than facts is of emotional intelligence as well.
I like that one. I like that.
Which I have to pull my back on a daily basis. I'm Irish. I'm hot-headed. Somebody does things the wrong way, I'm in my office seething. But I normally shut the door, let myself seethe for a hot minute.
That's being aware of the emotion that is arising.
Yeah.
Self-awareness.
And then catching yourself without reacting by recognising that you're getting heated in an emotional, you're buying into it instead of stepping back from it.
Absolutely. My kids call it Dad's having an Incredible Hulk moment. Just leave him alone.
You don't like me when I'm angry.
Leave him alone for a hot minute. He's Irish. He'll calm down just as quickly as he fired up. And then
Blue's turning green.
Does
again.
that ever happen?
It does. I am
As quick as
I'm pretty quick to fire up, but I calm down quicker, and everyone else is like still on edge, and I'm like, what's the problem? Like, did you not
It's
just see
over.
what happened?
I fire up quickly, and it takes me a long time to calm down.
See, I calm down so quickly, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, everything's fine. Look, everyone's
lies-
like, it's not fine. I'm still shaking.
Let go.
Therein lies
go.
therein lies the emotional intelligence of being aware of how you emotionally deal with things.
Yeah.
And when you're aware of your own emotions around it, then you can have a choice. When you're reactive, the choice has gone away from you because you're reacting, so you're in chaos. And people who are in chaos, you often recognise them and saying that person's in chaos because he's not aware of the emotional damage he's doing to themselves or to others.
Yeah.
And so it can even get to a stage where it gets visible, so you start smacking each other around because that's the only emotional way of you dealing with the pain that you're feeling.
Yeah.
So the people who aren't developed enough to deal with their emotional intelligence will become reactive and fight.
No, I won't. You're right.
That's not bloody right.
It's
Fuck man.
it's not an
I'm not sorry.
it's not an easy thing.
It's recognising.
I turned 50 this year, and even when I was still working for Paul up until 2 years ago, even then I had not mastered the art of, all right, you're starting to get to boiling point, go shut your door, think it through,
Walk away.
Feel your
Walk
big
away.
feelings, Greg. Feel your big feelings.
You got to
but-
feel your big
but
Feel your
calm
big
down.
feelings. I love it. Feel your big feelings.
like
Does
talking to a
anyone know
toddler.
how I feel? I got to have a big feeling about this.
But do
It's
it with
big.
the door closed and do it or with, you know,
know how
nut
big it is?
nut it out with a safe person,
Yeah.
but don't react. And it's
Yeah,
something that you've taught Ben,
That's a
you've taught
hard
myself, is to not react.
Oh, it's not
That's
easy.
a very hard place.
And I would say I've only become marginally good at it in the last 12 months, and I'm 50.
And you know there's work to keep doing.
Yeah. But it's not easy. I've still, I still,
I was advised
Try
to
and
go
pull-
to AA last week. Water off a duck's back. I ain't going.
no, I'm not an alcoholic. I'm not an alcoholic. I don't go to
It
meetings.
doesn't matter what you do, it's all right.
That's what the CEO thinks
I drive the car.
I need.
I drive the car, and
Yeah.
Shelley will instruct and decide on
heard
why I'm
about this.
driving incorrectly.
You fuck with it.
Within a minute of sitting in the car. So within a minute of the car, I'm doing it wrong.
We're
Now,
going to
if-
run out soon.
If I wasn't emotionally
I've got another backup.
able to absorb that by saying nothing and allowing that
still taking
conversation to continue,
You're expecting a few more swear words.
if I react, I'm going to get in the complete shit
you're
because
off.
I can't react.
Have you mastered the art to not react?
Yes,
Really?
totally.
Good at it.
I saw
I
a
know,
really.
I actually, yeah. I haven't been around you long enough to know, but I know you my
And
whole
I'm-
life, and I
I'm-
still haven't been around
I'm
you
pretty
long
good
enough
at it
to
too.
know.
I've been
To
furious.
not react?
I've been furious this whole time.
And you wouldn't know.
Bollocks.
As soon as he said he's
Absolute
only read
bollocks.
one chapter, I started.
Yeah.
Didn't say anything.
I read I've seen the bloody trailer, and I've seen you.
There's a war going on in
You
here.
didn't
But
even like the
outside,
book.
outside,
Stoic.
Look at me.
Stoic, I'd say.
Look at the
Stoic
hand.
is a perfect word for
Look
it.
at the hand.
That is pretty still.
Yeah.
I like that.
I still haven't recovered from last night.
Sociopaths and psychopaths are very good at doing that.
That's where I
This is
learned it from.
brings me to what I'm trying to say this whole time.
Yeah, he's
your
been
turn
sitting
now.
Yes,
patiently.
yes, it has been.
You
I've been
do it
very
after,
patient.
Joe, all right?
Very patient,
well,
but you've just
yeah.
fired up this beast.
No, I want to hear what he has to say.
Okay.
So, all you guys are saying about accepting the person for what they are, who they are, is not understanding it. But what about a person who is manipulating the situation, who is conniving the person that they're dealing with, who's being an absolute fuckwit?
Call them out.
Yeah.
How do you do it when they're that perfect?
Oh, they don't know.
No, they know, but you don't know. You have no idea that they're playing your game
Give an
better than you have
example.
ever imagined.
To manipulate
Can you give an
Yes.
example?
How do you know that? How can you give that example?
Can you give a hypothetical?
Because you would be aware of it, wouldn't you?
I'd have to delve deep into my my conscious,
Oh no, I'm just saying.
not
is
even my
there
subconscious.
A scenario, like a common scenario where that would happen. So I understand.
A common scenario
What
is,
you're referring to.
say,
Like a workplace setting, a
Not a workplace
manipulative
setting.
boss. No.
or kind of workplace, more so relationship. Yeah,
Yeah, there's more emotion going on there.
a lot more emotion.
Yeah.
To the point where they can look at exactly what's going on around them.
Yeah,
They see the little physical flaws you have.
yeah.
And go, all right, well, I'm going to delve myself into that little pit there.
We're talking about gaslighting narcissists.
Yes, that
Yep.
kind of nonsense. And it is so frequent.
Yeah.
It is much more frequent than is commonly understood by the larger population.
Yeah.
Especially in relationships, workplace relationships. A lot of that goes on, and it is a horrible business. It is a fucking bad place
I
to
think
be.
you're expressing beautifully what this is about, what we're here about.
Yeah.
To catch ourselves being affected by that toxic narcissist type individual who doesn't always necessarily know that that's what they're doing, but it's really hurtful and it's difficult to respond and to know how to respond. So how are you coping with it?
Me, I've understood that these people are, whatever they are, there are the two types, though. You've got the one that doesn't know what they're doing, and then you've got the one that knows exactly what they're doing.
And both, they both do know and
I
don't
think
know.
they oscillate.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
They-
think they
yes,
oscillate.
yep.
Oscillate.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
I've always seen them as two different people, though.
yeah.
And I understand that I myself would be someone of that type as well.
Yes. So to see it in yourself as you
It's
see it,
horrible.
I
To
used
see
to be.
that
I used to
as
be
myself, I think it's
terribly
horrible.
narcissistic.
Yeah, and
but to
it
recognise
disgusts
it
me.
is part of it's to recognise when you could be that way. That's getting back into emotional intelligence. I think part of what emotional intelligence can be is recognising when you are that person that's not doing what you know you could be doing. That is the right thing to do.
Extreme narcissists so there's nothing you can do about it.
No,
right?
no,
So extreme
definitely
narcissists
not.
They need to
will-
be put
because
down,
they will
basically.
never want to look introverted.
They can't look at
Is
it.
that
They
the
won't
Donald
look at
Trump type
themselves.
character?
He's all right.
Oh, worse.
Have you not read the news?
Yeah, I think Joe's right. Worse. Like, but we've worked with people like this.
You know them, yeah. They're
Right,
out there.
and they become so brilliantly good at it that you don't. It's like Stockholm syndrome. You don't know that
Yeah.
you've fallen in love with them.
Yes.
You don't actually know that you're their captain, right?
They're
because they
perfect.
are really
They're
good
perfect
at
at
it.
it.
But it always comes from the
Incredibly
fact
like
that
the leader.
they're so insecure.
Pod-
I've never met a secure narcissist.
But yeah, I agree. The idea that it's pathological in the way that they are responding to everything, in that their belief of themselves is so high that they don't realise that that's who they are, what they are, because they're in
They have no
denial.
idea.
But they live in that bubble of delusion. And how much of that bubble delusion is us as well? So when we recognise there's parts of us that are also a bubble of that delusion, when we
away.
see them, we can go, okay, I can walk away from myself in that way
Yeah.
where it's not helpful.
Yeah.
I can find myself where I am helpful. Is that emotional intelligence, or part of what emotional
Absolutely,
intelligence is?
Absolutely, being able to recognise toxic traits in other
What's not
people,
healthy.
and knowing that you can't necessarily change it, or knowing that you're not invested enough to try.
Yep.
Right, that's
Yeah,
a big.
yeah. You
Everything like
Right, you
that.
gotta,
healthy.
like
It's not
you
worth
gotta,
it,
yeah,
it's not achievable, it's not realistic.
Yeah,
In yourself,
and step away.
to see that trait in yourself,
Yeah.
understand how many mirrors I have smashed.
Yeah, and but that's a good thing. You're consciously understanding that.
Yeah,
that, you know,
and consciously seing it on a day-to-day basis and go, fuck, that's not me.
The
That's
sort of people you're
But it is.
referring
There is.
Oh, sorry. I got in my lap
almost
waiting.
missed that one.
Thought we'd get away with that one.
The sort of people you're referring to
I meant fudge.
have
sorry.
have an unconscious ability, like a subconscious ability, in my theory, to figure out where people are weak and vulnerable.
Yes, that's what I'm
It's-
talking
They
about.
have no idea,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's because I feel like because they're so constantly on the defensive
Yep.
from no provocation, but from their past. But they're
Yeah,
so
which
constantly on
is-
the defensive that subconsciously they are just attending to every situation in hyper detail to find advantage.
Yeah.
And
A-
so
a
they're
lot of
constantly
people will
scanning.
Look for a weak point.
And they're highly
And
perceptive, even if
Use
they're not
that as a
emotionally
way
intelligent.
to get
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah.
Fascinating
Use it
combination.
against them.
It is, man.
Yeah.
It is. Very much so.
It is
But
a
I'm
fascinating
talking
combination.
more
It is
so
really
the people
crazy.
who have delved past that and they've understood their
Cult leaders are the best at this, by the way.
exactly, yeah.
They
The people
absolutely
that
can
have
dial
realised
in
that they can manipulate and they can
onto the
connive
holes
people
in you.
the
Yeah.
way they do.
narcissistic sociopath.
Absolutely how to fill it.
Incredible
It
part
is
of humanity
horrible.
that
Yeah.
can exist.
Oh,
And there's so many of them.
Yeah.
Like we coexist.
On a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
I've met so many of them and I think, oh, this is a great person.
some
I
of
bring
them
them
are
into my
they're
life,
very
into
good
my
actors.
home.
Some of them could be in this
And
room.
That's right.
A psychopath is nearly always an actor. They have
they are.
they have
They
to
are, yeah.
Not me.
always be pretending to be something that they're not.
Yeah.
Because they can't feel empathy. Sociopath
Yeah.
can feel empathy, doesn't know how to
I
respond
hate it.
to it.
I want to figure out how to
Um,
abolish empathy because I'm so sick of having empathy for so many different things.
Empathy.
Empathy, I
Please
want to
don't-
abolish it. I
please
want to
don't-
completely abolish
don't abolish
it.
that, because then you will become a sociopath.
It depends on.
Empathy makes the world go round.
It depends.
It does.
Otherwise, we just blow each other up.
It depends on where the intention of the empathy comes from, because empathy can sneakily be the looking good of the ego that's generating the desire to have empathy.
Yeah.
So where is the intention of what is the intention of the empathy?
Yeah.
So it's very interesting
that
because
is-
sincerity can be extremely
Sincerity, that's what it is.
That's
Yeah.
Alberto.
I don't.
double-edged sword.
Definitely.
I'm being sincere.
Yeah, I don't think you want to abolish empathy. I think you
No.
want to.
Oh, I do.
you wanna
I'm
recognise
so sick
where
of
it's
it
valuable.
because
You wanna-
I have this
No.
stupid thought in my head. Whenever anything goes bad for someone, if
I
you
understand.
if you
Explain
stubbed your
empathy.
toe right now, I'd be like, fuck. Like,
So you understand empathy, but here we go again. I think what you want to abolish is how you deal with empathy,
yes, thank you.
not empathy
No.
itself.
Exactly.
What's wrong with
Yeah.
empathy? I don't get it.
Empathy is a
No, the empathy that
It's a
that
nasty
he
word
spends,
that I
he
was
spends so
gonna
much
say, but I
time
only had too
feeling
many
sorry
drinks.
for others. He's not
Oh, that's
dealing with his own.
sympathy.
Not sympathy.
Sympathy and empathy are
Sympathy
Similar.
is feeling.
Yeah.
Sympathy is like,
feeling
oh,
bad
you
for
poor
someone.
soul. I'll pat you on the back.
Now, he
Empathy's
actually,
more like,
his actually heart feels hurt.
Yes.
For someone's pain.
no. Joe's right.
Empathy is about
That's-
acknowledging what someone else might be
Be
is
going through.
experiencing.
and not
Yeah.
feeling it.
Sympathy is
Sympathy is feeling
So
bad for.
that's
Yeah.
double-edged sword right there. Sympathy and empathy.
Empathy's thinking.
Hit me.
Empathy's me going, oh, I wonder what he's going through that he feels that way about.
But not feeling it
This
per
thing.
se.
Not necessarily.
Yeah,
It's
so
more about
sim-
the understanding.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's very again in the emotional intelligence.
I hate the
I think
English
sympathy.
language.
I think sympathy.
Sympathy is more like, oh, look
Feeling
at those
sorry
poor
for
people
them.
on the news. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
so sad. But
Yeah.
your sadness doesn't really help them, does it? So you're
Yeah.
just feeling sad. So sympathy's
You're
like,
wasting
oh,
your time being sympathetic.
his mum,
That's right, yeah.
his mum passed away. Oh, I'm sad that his mum passed away.
so the
That's-
energy of feeling sympathy
Empathy is
coming
what can I
from
do to help
where?
him?
So
It leads to it.
Empathy,
It leads to it.
No, sympathy is I'm sorry you stubbed your toe, and empathy is I too know what it is to have stubbed.
That's
Yeah,
right, yeah.
that's
I've actually feel your pain. You
Yeah.
stub your toe,
That's
I've
right.
stubbed
Yeah.
my toe. It's the
They-
same.
It's
For me,
sympathy is
anyway.
I should feel sorry for them because they're poor.
Yep.
Empathy is I too have been on the bones of my ass,
Yes.
Yeah.
and I know what that's.
What you're saying is that overrides your attempts
So which were
to
you
grow.
talking about? Empathy or sympathy, you think?
Empathy.
Definitely?
Definitely,
Okay, so what's wrong with
100%.
empathy?
Empathy is.
Because he acts on it every
I
time.
do.
He feels consumed
affects me.
by
He's
consumed by
he's
other people's
consumed by it.
pain.
Yes,
And it
yes.
stops-
And
it
I
stops
can't
him.
seem to. I can't seem to continue forward in my own life
Ah, because you're so absorbed
because
by
I'm
them.
so absorbed by everyone else's
hurts.
pain
Ah.
and anguish
Have you ever
that
seen a movie called The Green Mile?
I have, and I loved it and I hated it. And that big
I'm sure
black
you
guy-
did.
Yeah.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
That's exactly your predicament.
The first person who's acknowledged
diagnosed
that.
it straight away.
Thank you, doctor.
I've written books.
Book or books. Is there two?
Yeah.
Well, I don't
Yeah.
see the other one here, mate.
No, no, well, next
That's because they canned it. 'cause
Anyway.
this one's-
Did it have Mr.
If
Paul
you get to the
at
back, if
beginning?
you ever get to
Oh,
the
that
back
one was
cover, you'll
with-
find
that
out.
Is that a typo?
The other one was 8 authors. This one was only 2.
Oh, all right. Too many authors.
I'm getting
I say.
down to 1.
Yeah.
See, I feel empathy for that, and I think that's shit.
See?
Like,
Yeah.
How do you know what that's like? And it's
Eight
sympathising.
authors, that's shit. Fuck off.
for example, I have sympathy
don't even mean that.
for Dean Koontz, the author, because of his crazy mind and putting stuff
Yeah.
onto pages. I have empathy for you because I too know what it is to work with Paul Rouse.
Yes. There you go. It's been explained perfectly.
Yeah.
Greg gets it.
Fuck me, it's only Thursday.
Trying to get me drunk.
You rest.
So anyway, just to hear the last of the
I was
emotional
brought up by his dad.